Today I'd like to explain the electrolytic capacitors. This is the electrolytic capacitors. Electrolytic capacitors can be found many places. I show the electrolytic capacitors used in the motherboard of a computer.
Actually, this is a motherboard of a computers. So can you find capacitors on this motherboard? You can find many capacitors. These are capacitors, big capacitors, and also small capacitors here and here. Maybe you might be surprised to find many capacitors on the motherboard.
So as I explained, the electric capacitors can be found in the motherboard of a computers. This is the electrolytic capacitors. Electrolytic capacitors has a polarities. This means electrolytic capacitors has a negative side and a positive side. So if you look at the electrolytic capacitors, most of the region has a black colors, except the one band of the gray band. Actually, gray band has a shorter lead. Shorter lead is attached to the gray band. This gray band has a negative side. So this means longer lead correspond to the positive side. If we look at the numbers, you can find the capacitance. For example, this capacitor has a capacitance of the 10 microfarad. So if you move to the next ones, so this one has a 33 microfarad. Last one has a 47 microfarad. You can find the many capacitance of the capacitors. Okay, then we'd like to measure the capacitance of these capacitors. Now I'd like to measure the capacitance of these capacitors. This is a 10 microfarad capacitor. This is a 33 microfarad capacitor. This is a 47 microfarad capacitors. So as I explained, electrolytic capacitors has a polarities. Red cord corresponds to the positive side. So I have to attach to the longer lead. And the black cord attached to the shorter lead. Then we can measure the capacitance of these capacitors. So first one is a 10 microfarad capacitor. You can find the screens of the digital multimeters. So 10.77 microfarad. Error is very small, 0.77 microfarad. So as we expected, it's very close values we could obtain. So now we are going to measure the second capacitance of the second capacitor. So this is a 33 microfarad capacitor. The value is a 34.35 microfarad. 1.27 microfarad difference from the values shown on the capacitors. 33 microfarad. Then move to the next capacitors. So it takes time to store charges. The value shown on the capacitor is a 47 microfarad. Then we could measure that this capacitance is a 50.47 microfarad. So difference is a 3.49 microfarad. Sometimes we could find a different value of the capacitance of the capacitors. So it's very important to measure each capacitors by yourself.